Hi, in this video we will see how to use abstract keyword and interface keyword. So I have a class called bank, and this class is having a method called bank name, and this method when called should be printing me the name of the bank, and this method is going to take a parameter called name. In method I'm creating an object for this bank class, and so n dot the method name, and I'm going to pass. This is the string that I'm going to pass to this method, which is World Bank. So let me run this. So it's going to print me World Bank, which is this is a simple and the most straightforward program. So now I have this bank. The when the inheritance comes into the picture, now I have one more class. I'm going to have a bank called East Bank, and I want the East Bank to have the same property of this bank class. So in that case, what I'll be doing is I simply go to this thing and I'm going to use the extend keyword, and the one that we wanted to inherit, we will use bank. So the moment I use extend keyword and I'm going to call this bank, so bank, which is my parent class. So let's create an object for this class. N dot east. Okay. Now let's put this is going to be East Bank. Let's run this. So if you look at it, I just used inheritance and I took the property from bank class, and I just passed my own value to the method, which will take the input as string and it will print. So I'm simply reusing the property from the parent class, which is bank, to the secondary bank, which is East Bank. So so this is how inheritance work. So when you will actually use abstract keyword, add a couple of more methods in it. Instead of bank name, I'll put bank code and int code. Now let's run this. Okay, so now I have the same parent class and I'm having like two methods in it. And now I wanted to share this class to multiple banks. For example, I wanted to give to East Bank as well. I want to give to the West Bank as well. And I wanted to define these things inside and then I want to give. So in that scenario, I will be using a keyword called abstract. So when I put abstract, I am not going to create objects for it directly, because it is going to give me an error, because when I say abstract, I am creating a template for others to use it and I don't want to use it directly. So I comment this. When I put abstract, I'm automatically going to uh, expect some other class to implement to extend this and get the uh, references that I'm mentioning in this class. So let's go to the East Bank. So now I'm passing it as East Bank, and now let's print the bank code and say the code is going to be 1122 or a 1111. And let's copy this, and I have one more class called West Bank, and here also I have nothing in it. I'm just directly going to extend the bank. In this case, I'm going to create an object for whichever class you want and pass the respective value 1122. So let's run this. So I wrote code at like only at one place, which is my abstract class. This class is going to be my basic template based on which I want others to reuse my class, and I don't want them to do any changes to this class, and that is why I use this abstract class. The moment I put abstract class, I don't want anybody to um, create an object for this class. I want them to extend it, and they can add their own additional features if they wanted to, but it is not limited to it. And so after you add abstract class, there is one more thing called, you can also have abstract method. So let's have a public abstract mm, bank conversion code. And let's say this is going to take string C code. Now, here I have mentioned like it is going to be an abstract method. So when I say it is an abstract method, I will not be able to define the method. So when I use the abstract keyword inside an abstract class, I will give them the freedom to define their own definition when they are going to extend it. But when I don't put the abstract keyword, I I set the way that the class has to be designed. Like I don't want them to modify it further. For example, like if you look at these methods, they don't have abstract keyword in it, which means it is like properly defined. But when I put the type as abstract, I have not defined the complete body of this code. For example, let's just add the system.out.println in this. I will be given an error that abstract methods do not need to be specified a body. So if you so this is the thing like so this is how you use the abstract keyword. Whenever you have an abstract keyword at the class, you can have abstract method, which is this one, and non-abstract method. When I say abstract, I'm not going to give extraordinary implementation in it in the sense at the method level. So when I have an abstract method inside an abstract class, I am not going to define it. But when I have a non-abstractive method, which are these things, since it doesn't have abstract keyword, it is non-abstract. So these can be defined. And also your abstract class can have it's like going to be your template based on which your other classes are going to be formed. So now this is one level of abstraction that people will generally do, and this will help where this basically is to just reuse your code. I just wrote the code at like one place, and I'm like I'm just calling the same method everywhere, but by creating different object, and then I'm reusing like using extend keyword. And now because I have added the abstract method there, when I'm extending it, I also have to add the implementation detail for that. So you need to add an implementation detail. So here I can put println conversion plus. Now let me say why people will want to use an abstract method inside an abstract class. So now let's put since it is string, it has to come inside the quotes. So by adding some abstractive methods in it, I'm also letting the other classes I'm letting them the privilege of adding their own implementations as well and extending the classes features based on their versioning requirements. That is one of the reasons like people will wanted to use abstract methods inside the abstract class. So this is how people use abstract class, and then they add abstract and non-abstractive methods in it. So now let's talk about the interface. So under which case we will be using interface. So now Let's say I have an interface, global bank. So inside my interface, things that I can have is I can have one method which is called default method. Okay, so so what is the difference between the abstract and the interface keyword is this is also an abstract type. So basically when you put public interface and the interface name, basically you are saying it is public abstract interface. So there is one method which will give you the privilege of defining it, which is called the default method. Means when you put the word keyword default inside the interface, you can define this one method, and the rest all is going to be a non-abstractive method. So for example, I can say public void print region, and if I will be defining it, I will be getting an error that I cannot define. So you cannot define your methods in the interface. That is one of the thumb rule of using interface. Okay, so there is one more thing, like can I use a static method inside an interface? Let's check that. Public static print region name. So you can have a public static void print name. I don't think so. So let's see that. So you have an interface called a global bank. So this interface is giving me, wait, let's add some more things. Print region, print location. Okay, so you have an interface, and why we actually wanted to use interface uh, is like to give the privilege of having multiple properties from multiple files to be used by one class. And I'll we'll go there, but for time being, let's just focus on one problem, which is like you have this global bank. It is having like three methods in it. One is default, in which you can define. The rest are all is going to be like your these are all like non-abstractive methods and you cannot define it, whereas in abstract you can define them. And then now I have added one static method in it. Let's try to call this interface in the abstract class. So generally how you will be extending the property of your interface is like using implementing implements global bank. So now that this class is going to extend the global bank, and also you cannot create an object for this class. You come here. Now when you look at your class that is getting extended to the abstract class, you will automatically have to implement those classes that got added in the global bank. So when you add, you will have to add this override, and then you have to implement the features for it. So, and again, you have the privilege of adding your own definition to the methods that you wanted to inherit from the interface. So now let's run this. I just wanted to check whether I can still add static methods to my interface, and will that work? And here we go, it works. Will we be able to call that interface? So to call an interface, since this is the child, and this child, so the thumb rule of having the abstract classes, you cannot create object for the abstract class. So what you do is you copy the global bank, and when you come here, global bank call dot. So you have, so when you have a static method inside the interface, and when you run that, so it's giving global bank east. Let's see. So this is what I have put. Okay. So you can have a static method and you can have a default method, and the other methods are going to be method names. You will not define the things. And now, why do we have interface when when the same thing can be performed by the abstract class? Let me show you one problem. So I'm going to copy the exact code. Say that the you have an additional requirement where you will be also referring to details from another bank. So I can put uh, Global West Bank. So I have another interface. Now, when you look at your abstract class can implement Global West Bank, which is another interface as well. And you will have to add all those things that you have added there. And now when you will be, so since you have added a method there, and so it is going to print Global Bank East, and here you have Global Bank. So this one is going to print Global Bank West. And if you look at this interface, it is going to have Global Bank East. Now and here I'm just putting Global Bank dot print name. This is going to call the bank name from the this one and not the West Bank, but let's do that as well. No. So now if you look at it, you have the same methods from two different banks. In order to define which bank is going to, so which bank do I need to override, this portion of code can be controlled at the abstract class. So since I have two methods, I mean, I have this print me from the global bank, and I have the print me from the global West Bank. But at my abstract class, I have the privilege to say which bank I wanted to print. So I have this. Now this method name that I wanted to print is going to be from West Bank. Let's take this, and I am going here. Now if we put n dot print me, so basically, it's too much a complex problem, but one should be knowing why we wanted an interface. So basically, in the interface, you can have like a multiple interface, and those interfaces, when they are going to get extended in one class, you'll be facing a problem called diamond problem, like where you will not know which. So you're having pretty almost similar method in this class and the global bank and the global west. You have the same methods in it, but when you are trying to when you're trying to implement this in this abstract class, you are setting the other child classes, whichever is going to inherit this, to only use the West Bank and not the Global Bank. So during that scenario, I'm basically tying up, like I'm setting the template, like everything should take only the things from the West interface and not from the Global Bank interface. Suppose if I wanted to use the ones from the Global Bank, I probably will be using this. Instead of Global West Bank, I use Global Bank. Super dot print me. So the class that so my abstract class, which I'm going to give to the other banks, I totally want them to only refer to the East Bank, which is East Global Bank. And that is why, so I'm going to disable one thing so that it is going to avoid the confusion. So the reason why we have a default method is sometimes we will not know from which bank we are actually, like we will not know from which inheritance, sorry, from which interface we are actually referring things to. So in that case, to know from which interface we are referring and to avoid the diamond problem, like not knowing from where we got the references, we use this default method. But that's not something that is a highlight of this topic today. I'm just trying to tell, like, you use abstract when you want to define your own template. You use the interface when you want the your child classes to have the privilege to use your class. Yeah, that is it then. And thank you.